Alright guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. I am super excited to be here today because in this video, I'm going to be breaking down all of the businesses I've started since I was like 15 or 16 that have failed miserably, why they failed, and most importantly, what I learned from the failures that allowed me to go on to do what I'm doing now. And so hopefully what this video will be for you is it'll speed up your learning curve so you won't make the same mistakes I made, because as you can tell, I made a lot of mistakes. Each one of these photos is a different business, for the most part, that I have failed miserably in. And yeah, so I'm gonna be breaking that down. Before I do that though, guys, check out this new hat I just got, Deal Closer. These are for my surplus warriors when they close a deal. If you are a surplus warrior, you guys have closed a deal, shoot my support team an email, support@surpluslist, let them know what the deal is that you closed, and we will send you out a free hat and a free t-shirt, but I'm not wearing that right now, so I'm not going to show off my t-shirt. But yeah, so with that being said, guys, let's go ahead and jump right in here. I'm going to do these chronologically in terms of, like the first one I started and the second one, and kind of go through each one here. So the first one that I started here is this high school trainers, okay? And this was a business I started. I was probably 16 at the time. Actually, I was definitely 16 at the time. This was the summer after I broke my ankle. So I broke my ankle in 2014. 3 days before I turned 16. And so this was that summer. I was kind of out on my feet again. And really, this was a really important one for me because at the time, I was obviously recovering from my injury still. I was going to physical therapy, and I was rehabbing my knee as well because I had a knee injury. But I wanted to make some money. I never had a job, and I wanted to make some money. And I figured I knew a lot about basketball. I was on the varsity basketball team. And I figured I could make money by helping, younger kids that are like in middle school, help them get better so they could make a varsity team or make a high school team was really the goal. And so I didn't know anything about marketing, I didn't know anything about business. And so what I did was I went out and I made this amazing flyer. And I spent like an hour on the logo, by the way, which is literally just a clip art basketball with the letters HST. And I called it high school trainers because the goal is to get kids to be able to play high school basketball, high school trainers. And then I was like, you know what I could do? I was like, I could go one-on-one and work with kids more intensely. But if I do a group of kids, I could charge a lot less but still make decent money. So I was like, if I do $20 per kid for 2 hours and I get 10 kids, that's $200 I just made, right? So I was like, that was the game plan. So then what I did was I went out, and I knew I was in trouble because I went to, and I designed this flyer, and then I went to a local Staples up the street from my house, and I was like, hey, I need to print some of these flyers. And they're like, okay, how many do you want? I'm like, I want 1,000. And they were like, you want 1,000? They were tripping. They'd never seen someone buy 1,000 flyers. So I was like, all right, let me not get 1,000. Let me get 300. They're like, all right, 300. I'm like, let me get some orange paper because it's basketball. They're like, boom, done. So then I get these flyers, and I'm like, well, what am I gonna do with these? So I start going to local NJB, which if you don't know what NJB is, it's like youth basketball camps or leagues, whatever. And so I start going to these basketball leagues where kids are playing basketball and there's refs and all this. And I just start handing out these flyers hey, I'm Spencer Van Blah. I'm trying to meet people and all that. And that was good for getting out of my shell. And then I got kicked out of a couple places because they're like, hey, you can't be promoted. This is our area. You can't promote your stuff here. So I'm like, damn it. And then, what else happened? And then I thought I came up with the most genius marketing idea ever. I remember this. I was like, I'm going to be a millionaire. When I came up with this idea, I'm like, I am for sure going to make $1,000, because $1,000 was a lot of money to me back then, but I'm going to make $1,000. So what I did was, at the time I was going into my junior year of high school, and so I had friends that had younger brothers that were in middle school. And then I also knew, because I was always talking to everybody when I was in middle school, high school, and all that. So when I was in 8th grade in high school, I knew some of the 6th graders, okay? So I had some kids that I knew now that were, distant friends of mine that were in 8th grade or going to be in 8th grade that were into basketball. So I was like, you know what? Let me call them up. So I call them up and I say, hey, look, man, I'm going to give you 30 flyers. For each person you get to come to my event, I'm going to give you $5. And they're like, what? So now I'm tossing out these flyers. I got 4 or 5 kids. I'm like, I'm a genius. I literally thought I was a genius. And then the day of April 25th comes, and I show up at 10, and nobody shows up. All that effort, nobody, not a single, it was like tumbleweeds on the court. Like nobody was there. And then I mean, that was bad enough. I was pretty upset about that. But then I realized I put a date on my flyer, so I couldn't use the remaining flyers I had left. Because I put a date on there, which meant that anybody in the future was screwed because they would think it already happened. So that was mistake number one, is don't put a date on things unless you can change it later. Number two is I realized, like, if I'm going to do this business stuff, I'm going to need to get a lot better. And that was really my first shot right there. I also made a YouTube channel. In fact, let me see if I can bring this up real quick. And yes, I did make a YouTube channel. I was not kidding. Boom, here we go. For some reason it's not loading. Probably because no one's been on here in 14 years. But here we go. I made this beautiful free throw video. So if you're trying to get your free throws better, watch my HST free throw video from February 16, 2015. And you can check it out for yourself. Anyway, so that was my first real business ever. Before this, I had some lemonade stands when I was like a kid for charity, but really this was my first one doing it all on my own. And it failed miserably. So that was my start. So then after that, I took a long break because I was like, you know what, let me just focus on basketball, and I was still, in high school and all this. And then I had like a little carpool business that actually went really, really well. And then I started my next business. And this was maybe a year after the high school trainers thing. And that is right here, the Southwest Web. Let me see if I can open this up right here. Southwest Web. You guys can see this. It's not much to see. Southwest Web Services right here on the bottom right corner. And what that was, it was a group of like 2 or 3 things. So I learned how to make apps on like phone apps. And I was like, I could go and sell those to local businesses. And then I also knew how to make websites. So I was like, I can go sell websites to local businesses too. And then I thought I knew about marketing at the time. I had no idea anything about marketing. So what I literally did was I met with a friend of mine, Miles. By the way, Miles, shout out to Miles. And this was like my senior year in high school, and we're just like, let's go and knock on a couple doors and see if we can sell them a website. And so we knocked on the first door of a business. We just walked in on a Sunday, and they're like, get the hell out of here. So we're like, all right. We walked in the second door, and literally it was like magic. The second we walked in, boom, the owner happened to be there, and we sold a website right there, made $300. And I was just like amazed. I was like, how did this even happen? And so, then I ended up going home and made the website, and I just remember being so excited. I was like, oh, this is so cool. I'm onto something, And then the cool thing was we had an upfront $300 a month, and there was $100 a month for us to manage it for them, which is really cool. But then something really, really, really major happened, and our client with that first business canceled on us after like the first 3 months because they said we were charging too much. Which, to this day, I don't know how $100 a month is too much for someone to manage your entire web presence. But with that being said, they basically said, screw you, we're doing this on our own. So I said, all right. And then we couldn't get any more clients because what we realized was we didn't know how to sell. Okay, we didn't know how to sell. We didn't know how to market at all, even though I thought I did. And so that was the biggest lesson from that one, is learn how to market, learn how to sell. We did some apps things. This company is funny. I think I had a website. Let's see if I can find the website. Southwestwebservices.com. I don't know if it's still live. Oh, look at this. This is our website. I spent like a month working on this website. You can see that we have the apps. We've got this was my old real estate website, and all of this, and some really old addresses and phone numbers. You can see we're getting a little more sophisticated now. We've gone past the orange flyers with dates on them. Download the PDF. What's this PDF? Look at this. I wrote up this whole PDF with an old phone number. That's crazy. This is crazy. This is like bringing back so many memories. This is crazy. But anyways, technology consulting. We had consulting. We would book appointments on here. It was a pretty awesome website, if I do say so myself. And later on, this company was kind of on and off for a long time. We sold some apps later on. I'd say that my biggest success with this company is I sold an app to a company for like $2,500, which actually led me to starting this company right here, Performance Auto Details, which I'll talk about here in a second. So it was kind of a success in a way because it led to other great things. I guess all of these you could say that about. And that, I guess, really should be the moral of the video, is that each failure kind of led me to another step that was a little bit more successful than the last one. But yeah, I mean, really, financially speaking, I did not make much money with it. Again, over the lifespan, I probably made like a couple $1,000, and I probably spent thousands of hours, so was not really worth it. The next business I really started, and the rest of these are kind of all within a really small time frame, except for these last two. So these might be a little bit out of order, but I'm going to try to remember these as quickly as possible, or as correctly as possible. So the next one is this social seniors right here. And social seniors, what this was is I was at a real estate event. I used to go to these real estate clubs like every week, like 2-3 times a week, just to try to meet people. And you know, most people at these real estate clubs are not, I was like probably 17, 18, excuse me, at the time. And so most of the people there are not like 17, 18 years old. And a lot of them are actually a lot older. They're like in their 50s, 60s, 70s in some cases. And so I'm there at these real estate clubs, and you know, you were allowed to go, for some of the clubs, you're allowed to go up early and kind of introduce yourself. And then, you know, if you have something you want to pitch real quick, you like 10 seconds to say what you do. And anyway, so I went up before the meeting one time, and I said, hey, you know, I'm Spencer Van. I know a little bit on online marketing, because this time I kind of started learning about it. And sure enough, one of the guys from the back at the end of the meeting, he comes up to me and he says, hey Spencer, my name is, I'm not going to say his name, but my name is this. He's like, I really need some help with Twitter. And I said, oh, I'm thinking in my head, like, I don't know anything about Twitter ads, but I'm sure I can figure it out for this guy. I'm like, you know, I don't, to be honest with you, I don't know that much about Twitter ads, but I know a little bit about Facebook ads if you want to talk about it. They said, no, I don't need help with that. He said, I need help with Twitter. And I said, okay, well, like I said, I mean, I can help you with Twitter ads, but honestly, I've never used them. I don't know. He said, no, not Twitter ads, like literally just Twitter. And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like I want to create an account. He was you know, like an elderly gentleman. So I'm like, all right, well, I can do that. He's like, well, how much do you charge an hour? So I'm like, 50? And he's like, yeah, $50. Okay, perfect. I'll meet you at your office, which at the time was like a garage. So I'm like, all right, cool. So next thing I know, this guy's coming down to my office, and he's paying me $50 an hour, $50 an hour to teach him how to use Twitter, and then later it was Facebook. And he probably paid me like $300, $400. I don't know how many hours I spent with him, but literally. And I was like, you know, I wonder how many people are older that want to get on these social medias but just don't know how to use it. And I was like, oh my God, this could be a business, right? And so I went out and I had a business partner, and his name was Christian. He actually works with me now in Surplus List as one of our customer support guys. But anyways, we came together. We're like, dude, what if we created social seniors, okay? And we had all these different plans, and we printed out some of these flyers, and we went to elderly homes, and then we got kicked out like 15 times. We didn't actually get kicked out, but we got kicked out once, and then we just couldn't get into the other ones because they're all like, elderly homes are like locked down, like I swear, if you want to keep like a mass murderer like held in like a penitentiary, like don't throw them in jail, like throw them in an elderly person's home, because no one's getting in there. Okay, like they lock that place down, and we could just not get in, and so we couldn't really advertise it. And yeah, that's why that one failed. But I still think this is a good idea. Obviously, I think I'm a little bit past it in terms of my level of skill. I probably wouldn't do this, but if you're out there watching this, you might want to take this idea, because it might solve someone's problem. In fact, I think it would solve a lot of problems. And by the way, this is when I started realizing that in business, it's not about creating ideas, it's about solving problems. And so like, you'll see like that's kind of more of a trend now in some of these businesses. Like before it was like, oh, like, let me just teach kids how to play basketball because I think it's a good idea. Or like, let me just see if I can, you know, make a website for somebody. But now it's like, oh, you know, let me see, there's obviously a need for this. Let me see if I can solve that problem. And that was like a big kind of aha moment I had with this company. And then again, I don't know exactly which one was next. I'm gonna say it was the realty one here, where I got my real estate license. So if you don't know, it took me 3 attempts to get my real estate license. I always thought I was a good test taker until I took that test and failed it twice. In fact, here's me failing it. I don't know which time this was, but you see I failed it right here. I think this is the second time I took it. But this is right after I graduated high school, a few months after. And when I ended up finally becoming an agent and finally getting my license, I called a local real estate agent that had worked with my dad before, because my dad had knew him in high school. He said, hey, call this guy. and he'll be able to help you out and tell you kind of where you should go. So I said, all right. So I called him, and he said, Spencer, you have to go to Torelli Realty. He's like, Spencer, if you want to be successful in real estate, you got to go to Torelli Realty. It's your only option. So I'm like, okay. I'll go to Torelli Realty. And so I called the owner of Torelli Realty, is Valerie Torelli, this lovely lady. Shout out to Valerie if you're watching this. Hopefully you're doing well. And I called Valerie, I left her 17 messages. I was not going to take no. I was like, dude, I'm going to Torelli Realty, damn it. And so I called her, and finally she answered, or she called me back, whatever, and she agreed to meet with me. And so I drove over there. And I will never forget the interview I had with her to this day. I was so nervous because I'm very good at talking to people, but I just had no idea what to expect. I'd never had a job before, and I didn't know what this, it's not really a job, but you know what I mean? You have to interview with someone. It was weird. And I go in there, and I have my notepad, and she sees me holding my pen in my left hand. The first thing she says to me is, oh, you're left-handed. I said, yeah. She goes, oh, all creative geniuses are left-handed. And I was like, that's a really weird thing to say in an interview, and I just met you, but I appreciate it, so thank you very much. And then we had this amazing talk for an hour and a half that really was nothing about real estate whatsoever. We maybe talked about it for 10 minutes, but the other hour and 20 minutes was just about life and her psychology and mindset, which I very much appreciate, Valerie. Thank you. Hopefully you're doing well. But yeah, and then she was like, all right, well, you're in. So I'm like, cool. So I signed up, and then I just had no idea what to do. I was like, well, maybe I should, maybe I should do this, maybe I should do that. And what I quickly realized was I did not want to be a real estate agent. I thought I did, but it just wasn't for me. I wanted to build a huge company. And I realized that, at Torelli Realty, they're, or not at Torelli Realty specifically, but any real estate, brokerage, they're looking to have salespeople, agents. That's not what I want to do. I want to go and build a company with employees and all that. And so it never really worked. I just never really pursued it that hard, to be honest with you. It was something I wasn't really that interested in. And I had people tell me all the time, oh my God, you're a real estate agent at 18, 19. You should be balling right now, $100,000 a year, $200,000 a year. And honestly, I think with my persistence and dedication, I probably could have gotten to that. But again, it was something where I was just not really that interested in it. This was right around the time I started learning about online business. I was like, that sounds way cooler. I had met this guy named Tanner J. Fox, who at the time was 21, 22, and just bought a Lambo. And I'm like, dude, what is this guy doing? I need to do what that guy's doing. And so looking back, I would say the biggest two mistakes here, again, is just going after something for the money. And that's why I'm kind of glad I didn't do this, because, it's not something I really wanted to do at the time. And I've thought about doing it now. It sounds kind of fun now, but at the time I was like, I don't really want to do it. I want to build a business. And then the other side of it is looking back, I just realized I had such bad shiny object syndrome, where I was like, let me do this, and let me do this, let me do this, let me do this. And I never stuck to anything. I was never successful. So I should have just figured out, which I did end up finding out one thing and, sticking with that. So anyways, shout out to Valerie though. Hopefully you're doing well over there. And if you are selling your house in Costa Mesa, hit up Valerie Torelli Realty. Anyways, the next business on the list here is Performance Auto Details. And again, this one and Fulfillment by Amazon are pretty close in the time frame, but I think this one was slightly before. And so I'm going to go ahead and go with this one first. But Performance Auto Details, I think I mentioned earlier that I built an app for someone for $2,500 for this company. And it was actually Performance Auto Details. So what happened was, there was this car garage, where an auto body garage, that had gone out of business. And this business guy named Bill took it over to park his car collection. He's a huge car collection, 13, 14, maybe even more than that cars. I don't know, to be quite honest with you, what he's got now. But he's really into muscle cars. Every muscle car known to man in there. Old muscle cars, new muscle cars, limited editions, everything you possibly want. And anyway, he had rented out this garage literally just to park his cars in there. He had already had another one, but he needed a second one. So he gets that, and he's like, I want to make some money out of it. He's got his own business already. He's like, let me start an auto detail shop. And he actually had his own mobile auto detailers the quality was amazing. He loved everything about him. So he's like, all I have to do is put my business smarts with them, and I could create something really cool. And so, sure enough, he gets into business with them. And then I end up making an app for them, because he wanted an app where the customer comes in and, the person taking the order, whatever, takes them through an app and takes pictures and all this. So I created that for them. And they're super excited about it. And then Bill said, well, Spencer, I know you're trying to learn business. Would you want to be a partner in this? And I said, well, yeah. What do you have in mind? He said, okay, instead of us paying you in cash, which he later did anyway, I'll get to that in a second, why don't we give you a share of the business? So I said, okay. And we came up with an agreement. I don't even remember what it was. It was like 5 or 10%. It was really small. But he was like, yeah, you can be a partner and help us out with this, this, and this. I was like, okay, cool. And so sure enough, I signed up, and next thing you know, I'm at the detail shop, and I'm not working, I'm not doing the cars, but I'm like working with the people doing the cars, trying to manage them and trying to do this and trying to do this. And at the end of the day, the business failed for several reasons that probably were all out of my control, because really I didn't have any control. It was just kind of me helping them and doing some of the marketing. But again, this was another one where it's like I did not know how to market that well. And this was kind of the nail in the coffin where I was like, I need to learn how to market and sell. Because if I don't, I'm not going to be able to do this. And at this point, I kind of learned a little bit how to sell from just doing cold calls and stuff, but I didn't really ever take it seriously. And this is when things really started to change. I started having some minor successes. When this business ended up going out, Bill actually he sent me a check. He said, hey man, I want to pay you for your share. This wasn't your fault or whatever. So I said, I appreciate it, man. So I ended up getting paid for that. And so I had, a couple $1,000 and saved up. Plus I just made a couple $1,000. So I was starting to feel a little bit better. And that is what leads into our next business, Fulfillment by Amazon. In fact, I don't think they have it on there anymore, but Fulfillment by Amazon. So if you don't know what that is, it is a way you can make money on Amazon by basically having a product shipped to Amazon, and then every time it sells, they just ship it for you. I haven't done this in like a couple of years, so my memory of it is not perfect. But the reason why we chose this specifically was because I mentioned earlier I met this guy named Tanner J. Fox. Now, if you don't know who Tanner J. Fox is, he's a YouTuber. I don't know what he does nowadays. I guess he does funnels now, which... Tanner, if you're watching this, dude, please go back to Amazon. I don't know what you're doing, man. In my opinion, you should be doing Amazon, but that's besides the point. So anyways, at the time I had met him, he's like 3-4 years older than me. He's driving around in a Lambo. He's telling me he's making $300,000 a month. And I'm like, what the hell are you doing? He's like, I'm doing Amazon. I'm like, whatever you're doing, I'm doing. So he actually gave us his course for free, which was super nice. Thank you, Tanner, for that. And then me and Clayton, who was my business partner for this, we put in, I think, $1,000 each. And we went in and we found our first product, which is like the most important part of Amazon. I don't know if it still is, but it was at the time. And our product was going to be solar eclipse glasses. Now, this was in 2017. If I remember correctly, there was a big solar eclipse 2017. Let me see here. Yeah, so see, this was 2017, right before the school semester started, there was a solar eclipse. So this was probably about, I don't know, April, maybe March of 2017 was when I think March was when we met Tanner. And then April was like when we started doing this. So we went in, we found a product with solar eclipse glasses, like perfect. We saw there like the kind of uptick in sales. We're like, this is interesting. And then I realized, oh my God, there's a solar eclipse coming up. This is going to be huge. And so we put in $2,000. We bought like 1,000 solar eclipse glasses for that. And we put them in packs of 5. And I'm like, that's going to be my value add. And so if you can tell already, like just from the very first business to now, it's been about 3 years, 2-3 years. I'm talking about value adds. I'm analyzing markets now. I'm looking at the market of solar eclipse glasses. I'm seeing on Amazon, like everyone's selling packs of 3 for $20. I'm going to sell a pack of 5 for $20. And that's going to be my value. Because my profit is like it's 20 cents per glass, whatever it was, something like that. It's like 20 cents a glass or something per pair of glasses. So I'm like, I'm losing 40 cents to get more sales. I'm like, that's stupid. Like I'm going to do that. So long story short, we do this, we get it made in China, and problem number 1 starts, which is China takes a month extra to get them shipped in. So we order them at the end of April. They were supposed to come by like halfway through June. They don't show up until the end of July, okay? Which, if you already think about the timeline, again, I just showed you guys the solar eclipse was August 21st. So end of July, probably July 25th to the 30th, somewhere around there, was when these glasses finally get shipped to Amazon, okay? So they get shipped to Amazon, and Amazon actually loses one of the boxes. So there's like 3 boxes or 4 boxes of shipments. They lost one of the boxes, and it took them like a week to find it. So now some of our inventory is not even on. That they're like totally messing up. And it was probably part of it was my fault because I didn't know exactly what I was doing. But they literally lost one of my boxes. It was ridiculous. Okay. So then they finally find all of the boxes. They put them on. They finally get them on the website, and we set up some pay per click advertising on Amazon, which was like super easy to do back then. And lo and behold, I will never forget this day to the day that I die. In fact, I'm going to show you guys a screenshot of this. I still have this on my phone today because This literally changed my life forever. Not because I made so much money, but because the confidence just boosted. All right, so boom, I found the photo, and this is it right here. So you see right here at the top, it says $280 sales today so far, 14 units sold today. So in our first, this is honestly not even the full first day. The first day we made I think 20, 25 sales. And I don't know exactly how much we made, but it was ridiculous. And the crazy part about this was me and Clayton, we had done the pay-per-click advertising, we set it up, and then it needed like an hour or two of proof. So we're like, let's run to the gym and let's get a workout in. So we went to the gym. I'll never forget this. We're at LA Fitness. It's me, Clayton, and our other really good friend Kareem, and we're hitting like biceps and back. And all of a sudden, we just started getting notifications because me and Clayton are both, like linked into the app. And so we're there lifting, and we're like, it's like every rep we're making $20. We're like, what the hell is going on, right? And like we walked out of the gym, we made like $150 while we were lifting, and we were just like we're like, we are rich beyond our wildest dreams. We've made more money than anybody ever has in America ever. And I am the next Jeff Bezos. That's literally what I was thinking. I didn't even know who Jeff Bezos was at the time, but I'm like, I am Warren Buffett. I am a billionaire. I've made it. And it was the coolest 6 hours of my life. And then it just stopped. It just completely stopped. Like we were getting a sale once every 5 to 10 minutes, and then nothing. Nothing. Just out of nowhere. We're like, what the hell? So I go on there the next morning, and it says, Amazon, we need to make sure these glasses are safe because there's been reports that glasses are not real. And I'm like, okay. And I actually made sure that all of the glasses that we got were 100% legitimate and all that. So I went and I, asked the company again for the different certificates that you need, and they sent them to me, and I sent them in, and then I said, Amazon said, okay, awesome, you guys are good to go. Here, sell them again. So then we started selling them again, and we sold it again. We had another 2 or 3 days where we sold a bunch of packs. We probably sold a total on Amazon of 80 to 100 packs out of the 200 packs that we had. And then again, all of a sudden, nothing, just stops. And they sent us an email and said, hey, you can't sell this on Amazon anymore. We're not sure if they're safe, and we're not going to take the risk of it. So we're going to send you the rest of them in a box. And so now I'm like, uh-oh. And so 5 days before the solar eclipse, I get a box of a pack of 100 solar eclipse glasses. And each pack has 5 glasses in there. So I'm like, what the hell am I going to do with all these? And we still, I don't know if we had made our money back yet, but we were pretty close to making our money back. So I wasn't super worried about that. But I went ahead and I was like, all right, let's see what we can do. So we threw them on Facebook Marketplace. We threw them on, where else did we put them on? Craigslist. We put them on Craigslist. And we just started blowing them up, and then people were calling us 24/7. Hey, let me get this pack. Let me get this pack. And then my big thing was hey, if you buy one, or if you buy 2, I'll give you the third one for free. And so I was upselling people again. I was starting to learn now how to sell and all that. So started upselling people. And then what really was our big breakthrough with this one was when we hired a door-to-door salesman. So we had this friend at the time. His name is Jake Strain. Shout out to Jake Strain. Jake Strain's a big basketball guy, or he was at the time. I don't know what he does nowadays, but. Time he was in high school and he wanted to make some extra money, and I did the math and I was like, well, we were paying Amazon X amount of dollars. Why don't we just pay him X amount per sale he gets anyways, and they would be the same as if we were selling on Amazon. So we're like, all right. And Clayton was like, this is never gonna work. He doesn't know anything about sales. I'm like, trust me, the product's gonna sell itself. So we gave him 10 packs, and we're like, hey man, just call us if you need more, or let us know. Maybe we'll come by tomorrow or the next day and we'll give you some more when you run. He's like, okay, cool. 30 minutes later, he calls us. He's like, hey, man, I'm out. We're like, what? He's like, yeah, man, I'm out. I sold 10. He's like, I got another 7 people on the way. How quickly can you be here? I'm like, what the hell? So I get in the car and we drive over there, and this dude was just slanging these things door to door. It was crazy. And it was so cool because he ended up getting on the local town's Facebook mom group. And then these moms were promoting him. And we were literally going around, and I would park around the corner, and he'd hop out, he'd drop it off, pick up the $20, come back, hand it to me, boom, and I got this stash of just 20s just in my car. I kind of felt like a drug dealer, to be honest with you, but I felt like a baller. And it was a huge blast. And we ended up not making our money back, or again, we were right around breaking, maybe made a little bit of money. But honestly, I had such a blast with that. Like, I will never trade that experience for anything. Even though it wasn't this huge success, like, I learned a ton from it. I learned really how to think on your feet. And I had so much fun. It was so much fun just going door to door and just $20, $20, $20. Like, it was a lot of fun. So shout out to Jake and Clayton for that one. That was a great time. And then as we go on here, again, we start to get more and more sophisticated. This was a program that I still have to this day that I might actually release that I never did. And it's called Real Estate Investing Secrets. And really what it is, it's a course to help real estate investors in any niche market online. And, basically how to find deals online and use online marketing that actually works nowadays. Because if you're in real estate investing, you know that like spending $10,000 to make $12,000 with direct mail is not really worth your time. And then door knocking and cold calling is just a gigantic pain in the ass. And then bandit signs get taken down every 2 days, especially if you're in neighborhoods like where I live, where it's like they're up for like 3 hours and they get taken down. So with that being said, this is what this was designed to do. And it never came out because this was right before I discovered surplus funds. I didn't say I discovered, I knew about it, but I wasn't actively doing it. But I had met with David, and he told me he wanted to create something. And I said, what about surplus funds? He said, oh, that could be huge. And sure enough, that's what we ended up doing. But I still have this. I might release this one day. I don't know. But really what I learned from this was this course is like, there's like 40 videos on this course. And again, the big thing I learned here is like learn how to sell, or excuse me, sell your product before you make it. Because this took like 3 weeks to make, and I could have just tried to sell it first and see if it would have sold. I don't even know if it'll sell. But that was the biggest one I learned there. But you can tell, like, I'm identifying problems in the marketplace now. Like, I'm a lot more sophisticated. Like, oh, let's just go train some kids how to play basketball. And then this was like the most recent one on here that I can think of. There might be more, by the way. I have failed a lot of businesses. This was an event that I was going to do with .com Cam and Clayton that just never happened. We put it together. I built out this whole funnel for it. By the way, these videos are, if you can find this website, I'm not going to link it, but if you can find this website, these videos are some of the funniest videos I think I've ever made in my humble opinion. But yeah, it just never happened. Again, it's like sell it before you make it. It's kind of the motto I learned from these two businesses. And then this one again was kind of like, this was just a distraction. I should have just been focusing on surplus lists. This was well into surplus list. I mean, this was September 2018. We were already had a small community at the time, but we already had a group of people that were in our program and making money and all that. Should have just been focusing on that instead of, let's make an event. So those are kind of the businesses, the big ones I can think of off the top of my head that I have started and failed in my career. There were some businesses sprinkled in here that I was successful with as well. And so if you guys want to see a video on that, let me know in the comment section down below, or give me a like, or whatever you guys want to do. But let me know if you guys want to see that video. I will happily make the successful version of this, where I can tell you guys about the 2 or 3 or 4 businesses I've started that have had a good amount of success that I would consider successful. But with that being said, guys, I think this is it. So with that being said, thank you guys for watching. This was kind of a longer one. Hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you guys on the next one.